have a repeat guest, Dr. Christine Hyde, and she is the founder of the New Jersey Center for Sex Therapy and has been practicing as a sex therapist for over 26 years. And we have a monthly series on sex. Today, it will be a masturbation primer. We'll go straight into it. Dr. Hyde, how common is it for some women to have never masturbated?
So there's a great sex therapist. Her name's Aliyah Moore. And the most recent statistic that I found was research that she did. She wrote an article in February of this year, and she says that 21.8% of women claim that they have absolutely never, ever, ever masturbated. So it's quite a big percentage.
That is a big percentage. And this actually came up during our last talk that we had when you had brought up, that there's uh, a fair amount of women who haven't, and which actually caught me by surprise. So I appreciate you getting that statistics. Can you talk about maybe why there might be stigmas to it, why some women might not have experimented even like as a teenager with masturbation?
Well, I think unfortunately we live in a society that isn't pro women's sexuality, pro women's discovery. We're sort of socialized as women to let in a sexist and heteronormative society that men sort of lead the sex. Men should be the ones to sort of break us in and be the teachers of sexuality. And unfortunately, we're also stigmatized that our value is the less amount of sex or the less sexual we are, the less sexuality that we exhibit, or the less number of partners we have. Somehow that increases our value, that increases our ability to find a permanent long-term partner. But unfortunately, there's absolutely no correlation to that, right? Women have not really gotten to a place sexually where we feel comfortable, either one, admitting that we're sexual beings in many cases, or two, feeling like it's okay that we have permission to be sexual.
So let's talk about some of the health benefits that come with being masturbating or giving yourself pleasure.
Right. So there's so many benefits. I mean, first we got to talk about all the different hormones that are in play, right? So there's serotonin, there's norepinephrine, there's dopamine, right? So serotonin and dopamine, those are the pleasure and satisfaction hormones, right? And then you have oxytocin. Oxytocin is the wellness and the closeness and the affection, and I feel connected to you hormone. And then if you are able to have an orgasm with the masturbation, there's vasopressin. Vasopressin is basically a relaxation hormone. It's similar to melatonin, and it helps you kind of relax and fall asleep and feel good. It's sort of like an overall, ooh, I feel so relaxed in my body. So those are the hormones that are involved with masturbation. So it's important to first know, what are we stimulating when we masturbate? There are tons and tons of health benefits to masturbation. One, it boosts your immune system. It's been shown to boost your T cell count. It's been the equivalent of a glass of orange juice on a winter day. It really does boost your immune system. It gives you glowing skin. All those hormones really act to kind of help your skin stay healthy and bright and glowing. It's a mood elevator. It's a stress reliever. It helps relieve menstrual cramps. There's been a study in 2017 that shows that it can actually increase your cognition skill as you age. So it's good for your mental well-being. It increases your memory and your verbal fluency. It helps increase your sexual confidence and your overall sex esteem. If I know my body well, I may be better equipped to communicate that with my partner, and then my partner is better equipped to help satisfy me. It can increase low libido. So if it's like, oh my gosh, I just don't ever think about sex, I never want to have sex, it puts sex on the brain, and sex can beget sex sometimes, right? It's great for your heart health and for your circulation. It's awesome to strengthen your your pelvic floor. So if you have any kind of incontinence or any kind of leakage issues, or just sort of a not very strong pelvic floor, which happens over time, it helps to have orgasms. It increases the blood flow to the vagina. So during menopause, sometimes we have vaginal atrophy because of the lack of estrogen and progesterone. So it can reduce the amount and the level of vaginal atrophy. I could go on and on and on. Like, there is never a bad reason to
Uh-huh.
masturbate, right? It's never a bad reason to masturbate. So
I like
I'm
it. It's
very,
part of
very pro
understanding.
masturbation.
So the question is for someone who might not have tried it before, regardless of age,
Right.
what's a good place to start, or how does one start with that?
Well, I will ask you first. The first thing I ask my patients who come in and say, "Listen, I've never masturbated. I don't know where to begin." Just as you're asking me, the first thing I ask is, let's take an inventory of your pleasure in life. How much pleasure do you have in your life? Do you have activities that you enjoy? Do you have friendships that are important to you? Do you laugh every day? Are you a person who smiles quite a bit? Are you a person that has general pleasure? I often see, not always, of course, but I often see that there's large groups of women who don't masturbate also aren't super aware of either nurturing themselves, caring for themselves, or even seeing pleasure as a general value in their life. So I would say the place to start is increase your overall pleasure in life. And then the next step is to say, how do we begin to explore our bodies? So after you kind of have a good pleasure inventory, I would say start by just looking, understanding, and touching your body in the shower, just while you wash yourself. Mindfully bathe yourself. What do my fingers feel like? What does my arm feel like? What kind of touch and pressure do I like? What feels good? We often think of masturbation as it's entirely genitally focused. It's all about our vulvas and our vaginas and our anuses, and it is for some people very much about that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it's also a holistic and a whole body experience for many women. And so when women think masturbation, I have to go straight and touch my genitals and it's not working and I don't feel anything and I don't even know if I like it, or I've tried and nothing happens and nothing works, that's really discouraging. So I say, step back, go slowly, be mindful about your body, look at your body, explore your body. That's the second step. The third step is think about, what do you think of as enjoyable, hot and sexy, desirable? What are some of your best sexual memories? Maybe with partners or in other experiences, whether it's a flirtation experience. And then think to yourself, have I ever fantasized or imagined what it might be like to be sexual with someone? It could be a stranger, it could be a friend, it could be someone that you've seen on television, and kind of explore, what might it be like in my imagination to play with that person. And then the next part is really not thinking of it as, I have to lie there, I have to use my hand, or I have to use a vibrator, and I just have to get into it. I tell people, no, you move around. If you like sex or intercourse from behind, get on your hands and knees, get a pillow between your legs, have the pillow support your hands, have your pillow support a toy. A lot of women also have, masturbation that they don't change from when they're young. So lots of little kids will masturbate with teddy bears, or with the corner of the bed, or lying flat and keeping their legs together and rubbing. So there's an assumption that, well, if I don't masturbate with my hand or a toy, I'm not doing it right, or I'm broken. And what I say is, however you find pleasure is right, is good, and is okay. What you want to try, if you want to expand that a little bit, is to diversify your pleasure. That means, hey, let me try my hands, let me try a toy, let me try the corner of the bed, let me try on my side, let me try on my hands and knees, let me pull my own hair, let me
Mm,
scratch my breasts. If these are
mhm.
things that you might enjoy with a partner, we have a tendency to feel like, well, that's kind of strange. Why would I do that to myself? I really encourage women who have a hard time, close your eyes. Just close your eyes and just be in a place that feels good and stop. Right. It's like watching yourself, judging yourself from the bleachers and saying, should you really be doing that? Or that's kind of weird. Or, your partner's going to think you're strange if you ever want to share that. It's the hardest part for women is to stop the judgment. So that is
Mm,
like key to pleasure. Because if you're judging yourself, I promise you, Tina, there's no pleasure in judgment. So,
yeah.
really kind of saying, I want to feel good. I want to experience what feels good. I want to experience that any way I can, and be kind and gentle with myself. Those are really the keys to exploring your body. But do it slowly, do it incrementally. Like I said, start in the shower, maybe try on a couch if you have privacy. But there's lots of things we need to feel comfortable, right? As women, we
Yep.
need not to have screaming kids on the other side of a door. We need not to feel like somebody's going to break into the bedroom and catch us as though we're doing something wrong, which we are not. We need to feel as though we can give ourselves permission and that it's okay to do this. And we need to say, I don't know what feels great yet, but I'm willing to be open and try different things. Lastly, on this particular topic, how and what you enjoy changes over time. When I was little, I did not love Brussels sprouts. I did not love certain things. Now, one of the yummiest things you can give me is caramelized Brussels sprouts with a little bit of balsamic vinegar. I love it. It's delicious, right? I may not like them in 10, 15 years. You need to evolve with yourself. You can't assume, well, I never liked it. Well, maybe you didn't when you were trying to raise kids and you had kids clinging on to you. Of course, I can see obviously why you didn't like it then. But maybe now you have a partner who's ill and now you have a partner who's not as capable sexually and you don't want to give up your sex life. A sex life is also a sex life with yourself.
That's very important. I guess the part we often forget.
Forget.
Hmm.
Yes.
You were making me think about um, upbringing. So, in most religions,
Yes.
it's it creates an idea when you're younger
Mhm.
that masturbating or anything like that is not good, and that's where a lot of shame comes around. How does someone, or what type of advice do you have in trying to overcome that mental stigma from being educated that this is bad to touch yourself?
Right. Well, I think the first thing you need to know are some of the facts. And, you know, the earliest, the earliest we as humans masturbate is in utero. In utero. When our parents, our mother is pregnant with us, we explore our bodies in utero. We touch ourselves. We touch our genitals in utero. And no one is there to shame or stop or say no. What typically happens as we grow, develop, and evolve is that somewhere between 1.5 and 4 or 5, our diapers come off. And
Mhm.
suddenly we have access to our genitals. Our genitals aren't locked away, they're not hidden away. And our reflex as humans is to touch and explore and feel. And what often happens is we do that. We touch, we explore, and we feel. And obviously, as little people, we have no idea where we can be doing this. Can we do it at the store? Can we do it at the dinner table? Can we do it at our friend's house? Can we do it in preschool? And what society does incorrectly and shamefully is It reprimands, it takes a tone. People take a tone with us, people reprimand us, don't do that, don't put your hand in your pants, stop it. We don't do that, that's dirty, that's bad. And so we get scolded, and that scolding and the harsh tone or the look of definite reprimand is a huge deterrent to repeating it. And we learn immediately, oh, that's bad, I'm not supposed to do that. And rarely then, as we grow and learn appropriate boundaries and limits and where masturbation is okay, in a private place, in the bathroom when we're alone, in our bedroom when we're alone, no one, often we're not taught that. And so when we're not taught that, there's no kind of exploration again, unless again we find ourselves alone, we're not going to get caught, no one's going to see, and we either fall upon it by happenstance, or we hear about it and we start to play and discover and explore. And I have some statistics that are really, really good out of Indiana University, to kind of talk about what percentage of what age masturbates.
Oh,
So,
that's wonderful.
so
Mhm.
14-year-olds, 43.3% of 14-year-old girls masturbate. This is all about girls, okay? 17%, 17-year-olds, 58% of girls masturbate. Between 18 and 19, it goes up to 60%. Between 25 and 29, it goes up to 72%, which we now understand who doesn't versus who does. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, the statistics only go to 69 years old, but I can tell you, I have 106-year-old patients. I have a 92, a 98, a 101-year-old patient, and they all masturbate.
Wow.
So while it's not
I
statistically
love it.
founded here, between 60 and 69%, it goes back down to 47%. And I find that really an interesting statistic, how you're at 72%, but then when you're in your 60s, you're at 47%. What happens? What happens then? I think part of that is the taboo and the stigma of aging and sexuality. And we are definitely,
Mm.
Tina, we are definitely going to do a podcast on sexuality and aging, because sex is throughout your lifetime until and up to the day you die. And I think we kind of take on the ageism of our society and assume, oh, well, old people or older adults don't do that, which is a complete myth. So I also question, of the 47% that they're declaring, is it a true statistic, or are older adults shamed in not
Mhm.
reporting their sexuality? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that, but it is a good
Right.
question.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, what I would say is, in terms of, who masturbates and why do they masturbate, this is really what it is. When we have shame, when we aren't
Mhm.
socialized for it to be okay, we don't develop that as a skill. And most of us
Yeah.
who do masturbate will say, of the clients that I see, the patients I see who masturbate, they will tell me, oh, well, I knew when I was a kid, like, don't do that. I can count on one hand in nearly 28 years of doing sex therapy, one hand of patients who told me their parents said it's okay to do, there's nothing wrong with it, everyone does it, you just need to do it in the privacy of a room, a bathroom, etc. Five
Yeah.
patients at the most who have said they have had that upbringing. I have treated over 2,000 people,
Wow.
over
Yeah.
2,000 people. So it really goes to show that whether you
Mhm.
were born in 1920 or you were born 10 years ago or 5 years ago, your message has not evolved. And your parents
Yeah.
have not become more evolved in terms of the sexuality. Because parents aren't comfortable. They see their child masturbating and they're not comfortable. So it's really about the adult's discomfort and not so much about what the child is doing and supposed to be doing and is natural to do.
Yeah. Oh, it's interesting. We're unteaching something that's very natural.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So the next question
Sure.
would be going into someone starting, besides learning how to touch themselves and finding pleasure. What are some good beginner or popular beginner toys that
Okay. So I want to take
someone
one
can
step
start with?
back before we get to the
Okay.
toys. I know, Tina, you want to hear about all the goods. I'll tell you all
Yes.
about the good toys. But I want to start with there are different kinds of masturbation, right? So first kind of masturbation is clitoral focused. It's working and playing on with and on the clitoris or the clitoral area.
Hmm.
The clitoris has over 7,500 nerve endings, more than in the whole organ of the penis, by the way. Okay? So
Wow.
we
We're
are
outperforming.
alive with nerve endings, okay? The clitoris actually lengthens and goes all the way down the shaft of between the inner and the outer labia, and it kind of looks like a wishbone structure is what the clitoris
Hmm.
looks like. So it's not just the little button or the little nub at sort of the top of your vulva inside,
Hmm.
it's that whole structure. So remembering to play with the whole vulva to kind of tweak and see and explore is important. Some people enjoy vaginal stimulation or they want something inside their vagina. Other people enjoy anal orgasms or anal pleasure. And some people enjoy that blended pleasure. And yet there's a whole other category of people who enjoy combined pleasure. Nipple stimulation can give them orgasms. Ear stimulation, any place that's has a crease is particularly sensitive. So neck, elbow, inside the arm, the lower the sacrum or the top of your butt, the lower back, that can be super stimulating to people. So those areas and many more that I can't begin to continue to talk about offer pleasure and can lead women to experience orgasm. So think outside the box. And if you've never
Mm.
explored those areas, even if you're orgasmic in one particular way, vaginally, clitorally, both, anally, find the other little places, find the nooks and crannies, continue to discover yourself, right? So those are the primary kinds of masturbation or touching that people do. I'm a big believer, and you need to start by touching your skin. The skin is like the largest organ, right? The brain's the most important, and the skin's the largest. So you definitely want to get yourself in the sexy headspace. How do you get yourself in a sexy headspace? You can listen to audible erotica. You can do lit erotica where you read erotic stories. You can close your eyes and fantasize. You can simply touch and see what feels erogenous and hot and sexy. So there's lots of different ways to kind of get yourself in the mood. Once you're in the mood, you need to have a safe space. You need to have a private space. You need to have a comfortable space. So if you find that the couch is actually more comfortable than your bed and you have a giant bay window, you need to get shades and curtains and make an investment in creating privacy so that you can play on your couch. You want to try to be, and as women, we juggle lots of things in our minds. You have to try and be as thought free as possible, and that's very hard for us as women, which means you want to kind of use the thoughts and feel safe and feel comfortable. So that means you can't feel like somebody's going to bust in on you. You can't feel like the kids are going to wake up any second. I always tell people you need a good half hour to 45-minute span, ideally, okay, ideally, to know that you are going to be uninterrupted. Turn off your phone, turn off any loud noises that could be coming on, turn off anything that beeps. You know, all those things are interruptions. If you hear, oh, the dryer's beeping, like that's going to interrupt you massively. So you want to not
Hmm.
have interruptions. Then I'm all about set a sexy space for yourself. If you're a neat freak, break out a towel so you don't have to worry about cleanup or getting lube all over the place. Make sure your fingernails are manicured or clipped. You know, you don't want to scratch yourself. You don't want to have a masturbation injury, right? Or an accident. It happens. It happens commonly, right? Maybe you need noise canceling earphones. Maybe you need something that's going to help you kind of lock everything out. You absolutely need a lock on your door, or to really know that some door is locked so that nobody has access to you. And you need to kind of say to yourself, I deserve this. I want this. This is okay. I need this. This is a need to have, not a nice to have. This is a priority, not a luxury.
Or not homework.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
So creating the space is super important. Then we can talk about what kinds of toys do we want to play with. Okay? So I'm going to
Awesome.
name some toys that fit in different categories for masturbation. First of all,
Mhm.
I need to absolutely debunk a myth that toys will desensitize you. Toys will ruin your nerve endings. Toys will make it that you'll never be able to come in any other way. First of all, there are some women that can't come in any other way. And those women are not broken. And those women are not defective. And those women haven't done something horrible to themselves that made it such. Okay. So whether you use your hands, a toy, a teddy bear, a cushion, your thoughts, anything that you use, as long as it's safe and not going to injure you, is okay. All right. So let's talk about toys that are designed for the clitoris. Clitoral toys that I highly recommend. One is the Lilo Sona 2 Cruise. The Lilo Sona, Sona 2 Cruise. It's an external, soft, silicone toy that is BPA free, phthalate free. Everything I'm saying is safe for your body, okay? That's a great toy. It's a great beginner toy. Another toy is the We Vibe Touch. Another one is called the Dame, Dame Fin, Fin, like a fish fin. And the other classic is called the Hitachi Magic Wand. The Hitachi Magic Wand is sort of a classic made famous by a wonderful sexologist named Betty Dodson, who in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and up until her recent death in her 90s, taught women and created masturbation circles of women where she literally taught women hands on in groups to masturbate and pleasure themselves. So the Hitachi Magic Wand is pretty strong, but a nice beginner toy. The others have a little less vibration and strength, but are excellent first beginner toys. If you're looking for an insertable toy, a G spotter toy, I really like the Dame Arc vibrator. It's called the Dame's Dame apostrophe S Arc ARC vibrator. It's an excellent G spot toy. It's an insertable. It's very hard. For women to use their fingers to get their G spot. It doesn't mean you can't. You absolutely can reach there, but it takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of contortionism, a little bit. So sometimes a toy is helpful if you do like G spot vibration and sensation. Um,
I have a
sure.
question to ask about the
Yes.
G-spot. Does everyone have a G-spot?
Everyone in the world has a G spot. Not everyone likes the way the G spot feels, though, right? Because since palpating and touching and vibrating the G spot for many, many women gives them a feeling as though they're about to pee themselves. I think I'm gonna pee. I have to use the bathroom. And this is despite having voided or gone to use the bathroom before playing, which is always a good tip. When you want to play, use the bathroom, void pee, make sure everything feels like comfortable and empty, and then you can kind of play. So Some women feel that urinary urgency. You're not going to pee yourself, but you may have a female ejaculation or a squirting episode. Sometimes it's a little bit of liquid, sometimes it's a little bit more. Some people drip the liquid out of the urethral opening, even though it is not urine. It only has traces of urine. Okay, so G spot, no judgment again. If you love it, fantastic. Happy for you. You found another awesome place in your body that gives you pleasure. And if you don't care for it, that's okay. But what I would say is, like my Brussels sprouts, you may want to try again in a couple years or in a couple months or in a couple of decades. Okay? Internal and external vibrators. That means it plays with your clitoris and your clitoral area, as well as internally inside the vaginal vault. I really like the Nova 2. Nova 2, Nova 2, is made by WeVibe. It's an excellent toy if you like simultaneous pleasure. Some women love that. It's, again, wonderful, great. What's great about the Nova 2 that I like is that you can customize the pulsation and the vibrational settings. So you can really kind of decide exactly what you enjoy and try out different things. So it's a very versatile toy. And lastly, one of my favorites is something that simulates oral stimulation. Right. So obviously, that's something that unless we're incredibly flexible, it would be very difficult to provide oral stimulation on ourselves. But there's a wonderful toy called the Womanizer Premium 2. And the Womanizer Premium 2 is excellent. It literally has what looks like a little tiny suction cup and a long handle, right? That you place over the clitoral nub, and it actually blows, but gives you the sensation of suck. And so it has a little suction feeling. It's very much unlike any other kind of vibrator. And so, if you have a standard hand sort of vibration over your clitoris, if you invest, and it's a big investment, usually it's between $175 to $200, depending if you can get a coupon. But it's a big investment, but it's for many women, they enjoy it. Now, I'm making these recommendations. I find that many women very much enjoy these different toys. You are not broken if you don't like these toys. You're not broken if it doesn't work that well for you or it works unreliably for you. It's just let's explore and find other toys. So how do you do that? I don't know of a sex therapist. I don't know where I can find that out. There's a wonderful store in New York City called Babeland. Babeland. They have different stores all over the city. I particularly like the store in Soho. What I love about this store is the people that work in the store are almost, if they're not all sex educators, they're nearly all sex educators, or they're sex educators in training. And I myself, for my own edification and continued staying with the times of toys, right? Because I'm not a toy store owner, so I need to kind of keep up with the latest and greatest. I will go to the counter. I will say, listen, can you please give me a tour of the different toys, because I have no idea where to begin and what they do. Can you show me? Can you teach me? Can you explain to me? And again, show me, don't worry. No one is going to touch you in the store. No one's going to touch themselves in the store. But what you'll find is they'll say, put your hand out, and then you can kind of feel the different vibrations in the palm of your hand or on your wrist, different sensitive parts of your hand, so you get an idea of what it might feel like on your genitals. Okay, so it's very hands on in the store. It's very, very woman friendly. If you don't know
It
where to
is.
begin,
Yep.
go to Babeland. And I get absolutely nothing for promoting them. I'm not affiliated with them. It's just what I
Yeah.
myself do and would do.
The salespeople are make you feel very comfortable. There's no it's matter of fact, but
Yes.
educational the way they present
Yes.
everything.
Yes, exactly. So you feel comfortable. And the setup is
Mhm.
really nice. It's dimly lit. It's got beautiful shelving. If I can kind of give you an idea, you could go on the website. They have pictures of what the store looks like. It's not a very huge store. There's no getting lost. When you walk in, you can see the beginning of the store and the end of the store. It's very, very female friendly.
I love that about it, and it doesn't feel salesy. They're not getting a commission on
Exactly.
whether
There's no
you buy
pressure to buy.
something or
You can
not.
walk out with nothing in your hands but a whole boatload of additional awesome sex education.
Let's say someone has started exploring for themselves masturbation and they had not before, so it's something new to bring up to their partner. How does one go about that?
Sure. So I think the first step with your partner is first, obviously, Tina, you want to be comfortable with yourself, right? Then I'm a big believer in dress rehearsals and trying things out in advance. So I would say, imagine having the conversation with your partner a few times and imagine a positive response first. Our reaction is to imagine the worst case scenario, like catastrophic. Oh my God, I'm not doing that in front of you, or that's strange, or why do you want to do that? We anticipate feeling shamed. What if instead we anticipated a positive response? Oh, that would be interesting, or that would be hot, or that would be great. And also keeping in mind, let's pretend when we actually really do it, if the response is quiet or lukewarm or not so very nice, I'm going to tell you one thing about that kind of reaction. It isn't about you, it's about them. It's about your partner's comfort. It's about your
Mhm.
partner's upbringing. It's about your partner's sexual history. It's about your partner's sexualization in our society or how they see sex, right? It's less about what you've asked for is wrong or bad or I can't believe you or shock and horror. It's not that. It's about how they feel
Mhm.
about themselves. And it's hard for us to keep that in mind when we're living through a response. Not that I'm
Yeah.
anticipating a partner having that response, but I'm trying to help you that even if that is your partner's response, hear my voice. Remember that I said to you that it's really not about you, it's about them.
Mhm.
And that, it's about them. So,
I remember there was one time someone said when she brought this up to her partner felt like it's because he couldn't. She wanted to use a toy because he felt like is because he wasn't big enough
yes,
or he wasn't
yes,
performing.
yes, right? So partners are what's the fear of some partners? I'm going to get replaced. I'm going to get replaced with something that goes at 400 RPM and gives you orgasms easily and readily and at the will and call, and my body can't do that and I feel I can't do that. And the answer is when we share something, we share all of it, and it's not about who gets credit for the orgasm.
Mhm.
And remember, everybody in a partnership or any kind of sexual relationship, we are all responsible for our own pleasure. We are all responsible for our own orgasm. No one can make you orgasm. They can help you orgasm, but they can't make you orgasm. The example I give is
Mhm.
pretend you had a mosquito bite on your back and you can't see it and the person can't see it. The person would have to say to you, where's the mosquito bite? And you would say, in the middle. Okay, there, okay, down a little, to the right. Okay, scratch, scratch, scratch hard. Okay, down, left, left. Okay, left a little. Okay, scratch, scratch, scratch. Okay, okay, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Right? You would have to give some sort of instruction because you're the only one feeling what you need to feel. Your partner cannot be inside your body. Your partner cannot predict what's going to feel good for you today. Your partner can't know your body and should not know your body better than you know your body. You have to be the expert on your body first. And that's why masturbation is a wonderful way to explore and discover what you enjoy, because partners and people who masturbate out outnumber the outnumber in pleasure the people who don't.
Mhm.
So talking to a partner about it, imagine having the conversation, Practice saying it out loud in the mirror in the bathroom a few times. Practice what you think the reaction might be. And then the next step is to say, well, I was thinking maybe to start, we can masturbate in the dark and you masturbate here and I'll masturbate like next to you, like where we're not like looking at each other exactly, but we're kind of just doing that. And it's kind of like children who are very small who parallel play, like I'll play here and you
Mm,
play here. We're not really playing together, but we're in the same play vibe. So that's a good
uh-huh.
place for shy masturbators to start. If you want to
I
have an
like that.
advanced masturbation skill, what I'd say is one person takes the foot of the bed and then kind of intertwines the legs with the other person who's at the head of the bed, and you can kind of face each other and you can look at one another and you can eye gaze. Maybe you talk, maybe you don't talk. Maybe you need to close your eyes to focus and concentrate on the sensation, which is super common with women. The majority of women have to close their eyes to concentrate to kind of get up that ladder of pleasure for themselves to get to an
Mhm.
orgasm. It's funny, our sexes are very different. Men spend their life trying not to come, and women spend their life trying to come. It's a very opposite end of the spectrum. So as you're trying to build up your pleasure, he's trying to hold back and wait for you, or wait for you to to feel good. So it's funny because we're
Yeah.
experiencing something together, but not really identically, and certainly not simultaneously.
Mhm. So the last question I have for this month's episode is, do you have any other professional tips or notations based on your experience working with your clients on this
I would
subject?
say overall, it's about pleasure, Tina. It's just about pleasure. It's about being kind with yourself. It's about being gentle. It's about being loving. It's about feeling good. It's about valuing your body and the pleasure that it can bring you. It's about making pleasure a priority, making time for yourself. It's about
Hmm.
replenishing. It's about restoring, and it's about all the numerous health benefits. And I see masturbation as part of your overall health and well being. I will always respect someone who chooses not to masturbate for lots of reasons. Sometimes it could be pain or discomfort or other reasons. And so there's no judgment if at the end of our podcast, I have not convinced you to take a try at masturbation. That's okay too. What I'm invested in is that you're kind, gentle, caring, compassionate, and loving towards yourself. And masturbation can be one piece to achieving that. Thank you.
Dr. Hyde, thank you so much. We look forward to talking again next month.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tina. Thanks again for the invite. Have a great rest of your day.